and welcome to your outlet for outdoors and Western lifestyle news, The Ben Show. I am your host, Rebecca Wanner, aka Beck. And you know, I say this each and every week. We love hearing from all of you, your comments, your stories, your ideas. Get a hold of us anytime. Call or text 305-900-2363. Again, that's 305-900-2363. Or you can always drop an email to bendradioshow@gmail.com. Ride along, as always, is my producer and co-host, Jeff Tigger Erhardt. First off, happy Easter to everybody. Secondly, did you decide to dye Easter eggs? Because according to statistics, they said that 47% of Americans were not going to dye Easter eggs this year because of course, the cost of eggs.
They say they're too expensive.
Correct.
So I did a little calculation for you.
Okay, are you going to tell us how much it actually would cost us to do our favorite tradition?
Because you got this from, I think it was on the Today Show earlier in the week, right?
Yes.
When they were talking about the price of eggs. And I know that the price of eggs have gone up, but is there anybody else that feels kind of the way that I do anyway, that no, I don't want to pay more, of course, but it's a little ridiculous. I mean, how everybody is making out like it's the end of days because the price of eggs have gone up a little bit.
I'm going to agree with you on this one, okay? Yes, you just hear it, and I feel like almost they're just trying to give it a buzz. They're trying to make it out to sound worse than it is.
Something to argue about, controversy.
Yes, is it higher than it was? Absolutely. Does it justify you all of a sudden saying, I'm going to have backyard chickens? I hate to say this, when you find out how expensive it is to raise chickens, just buy them in the store. What did you come up with, Tigger?
Okay, so here's the calculation is I looked at our local Walmart, and generally speaking, a dozen eggs is $6. Can we agree upon that?
I can agree upon that.
Okay.
And is it that more expensive than usual? Absolutely.
So according to what they were talking about on the Today Show, how this one gal was not going to spend $60 dyeing Easter eggs. And I thought, wait a minute, $60 dyeing.
How many eggs are you dyeing?
How many eggs are you dyeing for? And they didn't go into details. Now, maybe she had a daycare, or maybe
a really big family,
or something where there was a whole pile of wee ones, and maybe there was going to be hundreds of them that were going to be hidden in the lawn or something. But just running a few calculations, for less than $60, you can go and get 60 eggs and the kits to dye them, and you're not even spending $50. That's 60 eggs.
Okay.
And the kits to dye them in. You know, I'm talking the cheap ones for like $3 where it had that little wire hook, you know?
Yes.
And you put the dye in a coffee cup or something like that.
Right.
So I personally don't know anybody that is spending that amount on dyeing actual Easter eggs, having that many hard-boiled eggs that are around, because if you want to compare it, the price of candy is a whole lot higher than that.
That's what I was going to say. How about people griping about what they've been putting in the Easter baskets this year that Easter Bunny's going to deliver, because candy is far exceeding what the price of eggs are. And when I look at it,
you're not getting any of those Reese's peanut butter cups, by the way. The Easter Bunny will not be delivering them.
Do you want me to keep talking to you?
It's way too expensive.
But what I was going to get at is dyeing Easter eggs, let's be real. That is one of those traditions that goes on for generations, right? So when you think about even going out to eat somewhere these days, it's going to cost you a lot more than $50 to take your family out to eat.
The two of us, we can't get by for $50 if we're going to
But think about it, even going to movies, anything like that. But then why let it ruin a tradition like dyeing Easter eggs over a couple of dollars? Because that's still a cheaper activity than most activities you can go out and do with your family.
And Easter isn't about dyeing Easter eggs and candy anyway.
It isn't, but here I am with a useful hack to even save a few more bucks. If you're not wanting to buy the kit and you're not looking to make glitter and tie-dye Easter eggs and all that, you know, you probably have the ingredients in your house to just go and dye these Easter eggs, because all you really need is, if you think about it, you need food coloring. Well, you probably have food coloring if you decorate, you know, with anything like that when
Christmas
you do your cookies and all that. Vinegar and hot water. Yeah, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. Hot water, vinegar, and a couple of drops of that good old food coloring that you have sitting in your cupboard.
And then mom and grandma or whoever is in charge of this at the kitchen table isn't upset because you've got that everywhere. Well, I guess if you're going to use the food coloring, you're still going to have the mess with it.
No, make sure you put down a lot of newspapers.
Well,
okay.
Regardless, happy Easter to everyone out there.
The other week, we were talking about how the grizzly bears, black bears, they are waking up from hibernation and they are hungry and they may even have young ones by their side. So listen to this story that just happened last week on Friday, April 11th. A Montana man had a close call with a grizzly bear while antler shed hunting near Depouillier in northwest Montana. The man was searching for antlers when an adult female grizzly suddenly charged him. Acting in self-defense, he shot and killed the bear and thankfully walked away unharmed. Montana Fish and Wildlife Parks say the bear was a healthy sow with no history of conflict, and a young cub found nearby was left alone, as officials believe it can survive on its own. This is the first deadly grizzly encounter in 2025 across North America, and just like last year, it involved an antler shed hunter in Montana. Because grizzlies are federally protected, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is now investigating. Depouillier sits near the Rocky Mountains, if you didn't know. It is just east of the Flathead National Forest, inside a major grizzly recovery zone known as the Northern Continental Divide ecosystem, home to over 1,000 bears. So this is just another one of those bear beware stories. Stay alert out there, especially right now while you're out there antler shed hunting in bear country. A quick reminder for anyone thinking about visiting Yellowstone National Park, Glacier. Maybe you want to see the Tetons. I keep seeing the question again on social media for folks planning their trips this summer. Do I need bear spray? I'm going to tell you right now, yes, better be safe than sorry. All right, folks, let's take a short break. When we come back, we've got more of The Ben Show.
Hey guys and gals, this is John Arman with Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV. Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV travels the back roads to the backwaters in pursuit of the ultimate adventure in hunting and fishing. Join Team UOA every week for exciting action in the crosshairs of the outdoors. Catch Ultimate Outdoor Adventures TV on YouTube, Amazon Prime, and make sure to follow Team UOA on Facebook and Instagram to share in the ultimate outdoor adventure.
Get ready for the Western experience of a lifetime. The world-famous Miles City Buck and Horse Sale is back and better than ever. Join us May 15th through the 18th in Miles City, Montana. From the finest bucking stock to electrifying horse racing, this event has it all. Don't miss out on the Pendleton Whiskey Kickoff Concert featuring Gary Allen and special guests Tiger Lily Gold. Mark your calendars and saddle up for the world-famous Miles City Buck and Horse Sale, where the spirit of the West comes alive. Get your tickets at buckinghorse.sale.com.
The hunt, the stories, the memories. This is Jake Fenrick with JB's Wildlife Designs. Let me capture and preserve that hunt, that story, that memory with a trophy mount to last you a lifetime. Look us up on Facebook at JB's Wildlife Designs to see samples of our taxidermy, and reach out at any time with any and all questions you may have. This is Jake Fenrick with JB's Wildlife Designs. Taxidermy is my passion. Let me preserve yours.
Welcome to your outlet for outdoors and Western lifestyle, The Ben Show. I am your host, Rebecca Wanner, a.k.a. Beck. Riding like shotgun, my co-host, Jeff Tigger Erhardt. Now, we talked about this a while back, how we live in a state that has once-in-a-lifetime tags for 3 species, those being elk, moose, or bighorn sheep. Now, that is because, of course, our numbers are not as great as other Western states are for these big game animals. And we, every year, throw our hat in the lottery. And
even had a place to hunt moose.
I know, we even have them in.
We even have a place that a buddy of ours said, if you would happen to get drawn, put in this area. This unit. And he said, call me, I'll take you moose hunting.
I know.
And we got skunked.
We got skunked again. However, one of your best friends about 4 years ago, he got drawn for a moose tag.
5 years ago.
Okay. And now fast forward 5 years, his son, who's about to get married this fall as well, he got drawn for
an elk.
an
Is
elk.
that not incredible that Dad got a moose once in a lifetime, and it's beautiful. And I mean, and that family ate on that moose for a long time. And then their oldest son, who, yes, is getting married this fall, he gets drawn for an elk. So didn't you reach out to...
My first question was to this individual's parents, who are, of course, our dear friends, was, are the guys for the bachelor party going elk hunting? Or are they going to be like going elk hunting instead of the wedding? And like, hey, honey,
either is genius.
Can we have that wedding after dark?
Either
you know
is
what I
genius.
mean if you're a hunter, right?
Well, congratulations for those people wherever you're at. If you happen to get lucky and get drawn in the lottery. So speaking of hunting, we have talked a lot about, for celebrating for my big milestone birthday, going on an exotic hunt, right?
Yes.
Everybody is tired of us carrying on. They're waiting. Are you guys going gator hunting or not? So I started doing a little research into this, not just the gator hunting, but as you and I have talked was, yes, we hope that if we would go, we would get a gator. But the question is, then what? We live a long ways away from gator country, about as far as anybody can get.
A long ways from Louisiana, a long ways from Florida.
Exactly. So I reached out to my cousin, Boudie Schneider, who is in Helena, Montana. Schneider Taxidermy, by the way, does absolutely beautiful work, because I know that he has worked on a gator before, or I thought he did. So I reached out just to find out what is entailed with this, that if I actually would get a gator, then what? Beck asked, what do we want to do? Do we want to, go fly fishing somewhere? Do you want to go antelope hunting in Wyoming or something? You want to go gator hunting in Florida? So we've been looking at this gator hunting deal and calling people and asking some questions and this, that, and the other. But so here was my big question, is the guy that does some taxidermy work for us. And I asked him, like, okay, if I get this gator, what in the world do I do? And he literally said, I have no idea. That is so out of my realm. So,
sure.
Okay, Cousin B. Now, let's say I get a gator in Florida or Louisiana. Now, what do I do?
Actually, they work on them all the time down there. So I would probably have them work on it. But I did have a guy bring one back for me one time that I mounted life size.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
So you would recommend, actually, if a person is traveling that far, it's probably more cost effective to have somebody down there work on it and then ship the finished product back to us.
Yep, that's what I'd recommend, because they work on them all the time down there. And, I've only done one. There's just not many gators in Montana.
Right. So where'd this gator come from that you did for a buddy?
I'm trying to think. Somewhere down there in Florida.
And how big was this thing?
It was 8.5 feet long, so not a huge one.
So what did you do? You said you did a full body. So did you do it that it was kind of angled, like it was crawling down into the water, something like that? Or how did you go about doing a full body mount on this deal?
So it was actually, I put it kind of on a small rock, but made it look like it was swimming.
Gotcha.
And then barely touching the rock. But yeah, so he was kind of curving and swimming down a little bit.
So would you ever do that again? Would you ever do a gator again? Because you said it was your one and only that you've done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I probably would.
Are they hard compared to working on a deer?
It's probably more like mounting a fish, than a deer. But you still have to tan it and make it into leather like you would a deer. It's definitely a different animal to mount.
And then did you do the tanning of their hide too?
I did. Yeah, I tanned it. To mount it.
Gotcha.
So and that process is basically the same as tanning a deer hide or whatever.
So working on a full body mount like that of a gator, you said 8.5 feet long. What is kind of the time frame in that? Do you work when you're working on something that lives in the water? I mean, it's a little bit different. Like you said, like working on a fish, that's a whole different dynamic. So when you start on a gator, is it start to finish, or can you work on pieces as you're going? Or is it, like I said, once you start, you just got to finish this thing?
Yeah, it's a start to finish thing. That's for sure. you got to put it all together in one piece and everything, and then let it dry for a couple weeks,
How long did it take you?
To mount the skin.
Yeah, to mount this gator, how long did that take you?
It was about like a day and a half.
Oh, that wasn't too bad.
No, not too bad. I actually made my own form for it. So
did they send you the cape, I guess, I don't know if I'm even using the right language for reptiles, but did they send you the head and the cape, and they basically had him gutted out, wherever he was from, and took the meat out and just sent you the cape?
Yeah, he drove down there all the way to Florida from Montana, but he drove down there and brought it back frozen, but it was already skinned, so it was just the head and the rest of the skin.
So that was my cousin Boudie Schneider in Montana, and that was his first time working on a gator. Like he said, the customer drove down there and picked up the head and the cape and drove it back to Montana for Bodie to work on. But his recommendation was have somebody down there work on it, but have all of that laid out before you even begin to hunt. He said, work your way kind of backwards before you decide this is what you're going to do.
And I really appreciated what Bodie had to say, because it had Tigger and I look at ourselves, and we have these big dreams of possibly going on a gator hunt or another exotic hunt of such. But we started realizing when we talk about planning ahead, you really need to start thinking before you have your heart set on this, because the dream of going and getting this 8, 9, 10-foot gator.
12. Thank you very much. 12.
Sounds
12-foot
unbelievable.
Gator.
But how about this? You don't want to have remorse when you get back and you find out, how much did it cost?
Right.
Truly.
Yep.
What do I all want? So what?
And the meat too. I mean,
that's what
getting
the
meat back, where we're at. Is it that you need to overnight it? And then that's, what you heard that one gentleman did is, yes, he paid to overnight and have the meat, to get back to his location in Montana. But all of that needs to be lined up ahead of time. And you need to know those are all those unforeseen expenses. It's not just maybe going with a guide out somewhere and getting a gator. And that was the other thing when I really, really started to dive into this. There are different regulations. Can you go during the daytime only in certain states? Some states you can hunt at night, depending upon what sort of weapon you want to use to get your gator. All of those are major factors, at least in this particular hunt.
Well, and I'm looking at this as a broader topic, okay, right now. My brain is just like cascading, because it's not just gator hunting that Tigger and I have been sifting through. I'm heading to Alaska soon. I keep going back and forth about, okay, I go and I pay to go and do, what do you want to do in Alaska? Halibut fish, right? That is the big thing, is to go on a halibut fishing charter, excuse me.
Did you get one booked? Are you
I
going?
have not booked one, but I am going through the pricing of this because, yes, do you want just the experience? But then that halibut is delicious. So how much is it going to cost to have it overnighted back home from Alaska?
States, yeah.
Okay, that's expensive. So if you start thinking about this when you're going on your excursion, the travel costs to and there for you. The travel costs for what said animal trophy, whatever you may be going after. Then B, not on top of that, are you going to want to mount, say, a fish? Do you want to mount a alligator? Do you want to mount whatever it might be? Here's the bigger thing I'm trying to get to is, do you have room in your home for said mount?
Yeah, that was like Joel with the moose. I mean, that's literally, he got a moose, but his wife, Kristen, we can just say their names, that's fine, that she was just having a conniption because they had no place to put his moose.
My brother got a beautiful elk. They had no place to put it in their house. It sat in a barn, and now it's hanging on the wall in the tack room because he still has no room to put this.
Hence, that's why he's building a new house, so congratulations. But you do bring up a good point that a lot of times when we're planning these, we get so excited, and I am absolutely guilty of it on this one, where Beck and I, compulsive planners, at least me, a compulsive planner about everything. I leave no stone unturned, but the one factor I didn't look into, and that was a big one, was the meat. Getting the meat back here and having somebody back here at our place that could unpack it and freeze that gator meat right away. There are several factors that go into it. So we're just saying, think all of those through before you make the final commitment.
Correct. And to circle back one more time, I didn't even think about this. Right now, a lot of you are either going on or about to, or you're planning one for this fall, and that is to do deep sea fishing. I mean, who doesn't want a beautiful blue marlin on the wall, right? Again, you got to think through all the prices, all the costs involved. I mean, it's easy to be like, oh, absolutely, I have no problem spending the $1,000, $1,500, whatever it might be on that charter to go do or that guided trip. But then there's all these little, you might call them nickel and diming expenses, except they're not nickels and dimes.
But maybe the nuances that go with it, but all of those other things that are required to go with if you are catching, say, that marlin.
Yes, so that's all we're getting at.
That's a great idea. Maybe I want to do that for my birthday.
It's still early in the season, but if you've already started booking things, I'm just trying to remind you to think about all of these other little expenses so that when it's all said and done, the worst thing I would hate to have somebody happen is go on a once-in-a-lifetime trip, come home, and then sit there and feel sick because they're like, oh, it cost more than I could afford, or I just don't have the room for it. You know, timing is everything. That's all I'm getting at. All right, so with that on the back of your mind, if you're somebody who already has a trip planned on the books, share with us, where are you going? Or if there is one trip that stands out that you're going, no, Tigger and BEC, you guys need to do this. We haven't truly decided what Tigger's doing for his big birthday and milestone year trip. Send it our way. Send it right now. You can call or text us 305-900-2363, or you can email us at bendradioshow@gmail.com. Stay where you are, crew. We got more of the Ben Show right after this. You've waited, dreamt of a hunting adventure, and now have harvested that trophy of a lifetime. Keep the memory alive with a custom-designed mount, preserved as a work of art. Check out our approved taxidermist depending on your location. The award-winning Schneider Taxidermy is located in Helena, Montana. When hunting the Dakotas, JB's Wildlife Designs in Mandan, North Dakota, then Shadron Creek Taxidermy in Nebraska, and for the Central USA, Little Rack Taxidermy in Macomb, Illinois. Reach out to The Ben Show and let us help you find the right taxidermist.
Check out Medora Boot and Western Wear. Medora Boot and Western Wear is our go-to for boots, jeans, especially jackets, and even those hard-to-find accessories that make perfect gifts. Check out MedoraBoot.com, or better yet, give Kim a call at 701-623-1005 and tell Kim that Tigger and BEC sent you.
I'm just sitting out here watching airplanes.
Country music's Gary Allan.
Take off.
Live in concert Thursday, May 15th at the world-famous Miles City Bucking Horse Sale in Miles City, Montana. One of country music's hottest performers with special guest Tiger Lily Gold. Tickets on sale now at buckinghorsesale.com. Gary Allan with special guest Tiger Lily Gold at the world-famous Miles City Bucking Horse Sale in Miles City, Montana.
Welcome back to The Ben Show, your outlet for outdoors and Western lifestyle. I'm your host, Rebecca Wanner, a.k.a. BEC, and my co-host, Jeff Tigger Erhardt, is with you. What season are we in right now? Prom season. Or it's starting to wrap up maybe for some folks.
Getting close to graduation, but yeah, wrapping up the proms.
But I gotta say, I love how these days it is so different from back in the day. I mean, it's kind of like anything goes. We were talking about promposals a couple months ago. Now prom is here. I am loving hearing about the prom story, seeing the outfits, the dresses, the modes of transportation. Some folks are taking the tractor with their dates. Some are cleaning out, the old ranch pickup, maybe the stock trailer's full of the whole prom party. But there's been some really neat things happening. And Tigger, you were telling me about a story in Lemon, South Dakota.
Lemon, South Dakota. This has been going on for the last few years, that for the Grand March, all of the participants in prom, they go to the local long-term care facility, to the nursing home, and they have a Grand March through the nursing home.
I love it.
How cool is that? They even have gone to have a crowned prom king and queen from the residents at the nursing home this year. How neat is that?
I love this.
Made people's day. And there was another one that I saw that was really cool. I have never seen this before. I can't remember where the heck it was at, but there was a young man and his escort, which I don't know if it was his dad or not, but was a local deputy and had the male handcuffed to him, and that's how they went down Grand March. The young man was handcuffed to the local deputy. Everybody just went wild. Very, very, very creative. I love
it. So if you have some prom stories of your own kids you want to share with us, or maybe some photos send them our way.
They would be very cool.
Send them our way. We'll share them on our own Facebook page for The Bend Show. That email address again is bendradioshow@gmail.com. And that's a wrap for this week, folks. Remember, keep sending in those questions that you might have if you know of something spot-worthy for us to share, or where we need to go for Tigger's birthday. What's that trip location? Where do we need to go? Call or text us 305-900-2363, or you can always email bendradioshow@gmail.com. And if you missed part of this episode or want to hear past shows, you can find them all on the website, thebendshow.com. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and to The Bend Show YouTube channel. Finally, a big thanks to all of you listeners out there that came along, and whether you're coming or going, today stay with us as we ranch it up. And remember to keep up with me, Beck, all week long by following The Bend on Facebook and on Instagram at The Bend Show. This is Rebecca Wanner. Catch Beck if you can next week on The Bend.